Tonight, we're talking about drugs and alcohol. Drugs and alcohol. I pray that none of you have to deal with this, but there is a message that is being presented in the culture. There is a message that culture wants to say. Culture wants you to believe a temporary escape has no effects. Culture wants to tell you that a temporary escape has no effects. Try a sip, try a smoke, try a dip. It won't hurt you. One little drink won't destroy you. But here's the deal, guys. Addiction always has a beginning. Culture wants to open the door for addiction. Culture will condemn one drug just to promote another. You know, cigarettes are bad. You seen those commercials? Tobacco's bad. Don't do this. Boom. But God forbid our culture still says, please drink responsibly. You know, it condemns one drug just to promote another. Marijuana is your escape. There's no consequence for your decision. Culture sells lies in the form of satisfaction. Life have you down? Well, drink it out. Try this drink that'll help your hurt, help your burdens. Life is rough? Well, just try this new drug. Try this pill. Choose the blue pill or the red pill. That's probably before your time. Well, everybody else knows of that. But choose your blue pill or red pill and all your problems will go away. Try this new drug. Try this new smoke. It'll just take your problems away. But here's the deal. Your body becomes dependent on a substance. And when it becomes dependent, it'll always need more. It will always want more. It will always crave more. That's the things with addictions. That's the things with drug and alcohol. Once you open the door, it's open. Culture opens the door for you. It's advertisements. You can't watch a Super Bowl commercial. I know the best commercials are the alcohol commercials. By golly, they're the funniest ones. But think how easy that is to make you susceptible to that. Oh, alcohol's funny. All right, I want to try it out. I can't wait to be 21. I'm going to turn up. Turn down for what? I can't wait to be 21. Or I can't wait till I just get to try a sip of that. I can't wait to try some wine. I can't wait to try some beer. I can't wait to try some whiskey down in Texas. Can't wait to try and sip some of that whiskey. Our culture has lied and says, listen, you got to try this stuff because it makes you feel good. You don't have to remember anything. But here's the deal. The crash that happens after culture doesn't really talk about that. Culture talks about the high, they talk about the mountain, they talk about the feeling, but the day after, pretty much every drug has a side effect. The day after, you're lower than you were when you were higher, before you even started. You're lower than when you even first tried that drug, because your body builds a substance to it. Culture says drugs and alcohol bring peace your body needs. They say drugs and alcohol bring the peace that your body needs. Listen, man. If you just smoke this stuff, it will take you to like a whole new world, man. Like I went to like that place way over there, dude. Wow. That's a stoner. They're trying to sell you these drugs because it'll take you and escape you from reality. It'll take you away from your situations. Smoke our weed so you don't have to care anymore. Drink our beer because it gives you the right buzz. You don't have to feel anymore. You don't have to have that feeling. You can just be happy. But here's the deal. Look at drugs. There are so many forms of drugs, our culture can't keep up. There's a new drug being created every single day. Gosh, I remember when I was in high school, some person tried to smoke bath salts and it killed them and they became a zombie. People try to get high off the stupidest stuff. I don't know, I wish I looked up a statistic of how many people have died because they wanted a high. They wanted to escape from reality. They wanted to get this feeling that would take them away from the pain, that would take them away from the hurt. Because you see, we celebrate the feeling but ignore the problem. That's what culture lies and says to you. We celebrate the feeling that it gives you, but we ignore the problem. Our bodies ain't designed to be altered with drugs. They aren't designed to be altered with drugs. Yet we do it anyway. Alcohol. Here's the controversy. But I'm going to start it off by saying this. Every single one of you are under 21. So, that means it's illegal for you to drink, which is against the law, creating a sin in your life. And if your parents tell you no, it's a sin in your life because it's disobedience. I'm going to start off by saying that. Because there is a controversy with alcohol within the church, within our lives, within the Bible. There's not a clear thing that says, listen, alcohol's bad. Because in the Bible, it says getting drunk is bad. Alcohol is a sin for you because you're not old enough. But I'm going to talk to the adults because you will soon be adults and you will soon be there at the age where, oh, I can drink now? You know, for me, I was 16 and I'd go to Chili's and they'd look at me, can I get you something to drink? I was like, yeah, sweet tea. No, I mean, this is our alcohol beverage. I'm like, I'm 16. And they're like, oh, this guy, okay. Well, don't tell anybody I told you that. Because I looked older than what I was. But it's been offered to me, but I always said no. You see, the Bible talks about wine being good for the body, but the health benefits aren't worth the buzz that you get. If you can't have self-control, which is hard to have self-control when you start feeling the after effects. Once you start feeling the effects, you've already drank too much. Because the Bible talks about just a little drink, just to kind of keep the disease away. Just to kind of help your body. But here's the deal. Our professor at my college campus actually did a whole sermon series based on just alcohol. The alcohol in the Bible times didn't give you a buzz. The alcohol was stripped out when they cooked it and made the wine. So it's like drinking sparkling grape juice. So there you go, take that. But culture, some church culture wants to say, listen, drinking's okay. Just don't get drunk. Drinking's okay, but don't just don't get drunk. But here's the deal. We live in a time when other things benefit the body just as much without the alcoholic content. See, in the Bible times, that's what they had. They had wine. They had something that was helping them. That was their medicine. They used it as a form of medicine. The day and time we live in, we have so much medicine. By golly, I went to Walmart the other day just looking for fiber pills. And they had a whole cabinet full of vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin whatever you want it to be. Anybody ever been to Walmart and seen all the medicine stuff? The society we live in, there's not a need for alcohol to serve as a medicine. But culture wants to tell you, listen, a little sip won't hurt you. A little sip, a little taste, just to wet your whistle, won't hurt you. But that's when the enemy sees the door wide open and said, oh yeah, you like that taste, didn't you? It tasted pretty good. Why don't you take another sip? Then you wake up the next morning, where did my night go? You wake up the next morning, what is this feeling I feel? Why am I puking? Because when you open the door to sin, the devil will exploit it. So that's where we're going to begin our scripture today. The scripture is 1 Peter 5, verses 6 through 11. It'll be up on the screens. Check it out. It says, humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, so that you, at the proper time, he may exalt you, casting all your anxieties on him because he cares for you. Be sober-minded. Be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. Resist him, firm in your faith, knowing that the same kinds of suffering are being experienced by your brotherhood throughout the world. And after you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace, who has called you to his eternal glory in Christ, will himself restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. To him be the dominion forever. Amen. Now, if you didn't get all that verse, and you may have read that verse, you said, what does that have to do with drugs and alcohol? What does that have to do with drugs and alcohol? So let me tell you. Our first point is our escape appears easy. We turn to drugs and alcohol to escape reality, to escape our problems. Instead of turning to God in our time of need, we turn to an escape. We treat drugs and alcohol like an escape. At the beginning of this verse, though, it says, humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, so that at the proper time he may exalt you, casting all your anxieties on him because he cares for you. He didn't say cast all your anxieties and drink them away and get at this high to take them away. He says cast all your anxieties on him. Because our escape appears easy. We turn to the drugs and alcohol because it seems so easy. Oh man, I could just drink, or I could smoke this weed, this Mary Jane, whatever the cool kids call it nowadays. I don't have to feel anymore. I don't have to be nervous anymore. That's why marijuana is becoming illegal in some states, is because those people medically need it to feel a little better, to feel a little bit better. But Scripture clearly says cast all your anxieties on him because he cares for you. But why does our society turn to drugs and alcohol first? Life's rough right now. I guess I'm going to hit the bar. I won't remember tonight. When the times get tough, we're so quick to turn to everything but God. And that's what the Scripture really deals with, the heart of the issue. Because drugs and alcohol is not the problem, it's the heart. Our heart is the issue. So we choose to disguise our hurt with drugs and alcohol. How often is our addictions a product of our situations? We believe a temporary fix can relieve our problems. We believe that temporary feeling can fix the problems, but as soon as you wake up the next day, they're magnified 20 times worse. It's like a backwards elevator. You go up, you go down 20. You go up 10, down 20. Are you making any progress? No. That feeling just gets lower and lower. That's why alcoholism is such a big struggle in the United States, because they keep drinking and keep drinking and keep drinking and keep drinking and keep drinking, hoping, praying for that feeling to be gone when they wake up the next morning. As soon as they wake up the next morning, oh, I feel it again. I guess I got to drink another one. But instead of turning our problems to God, who is so quick to fix it right away, or to help you walk through the fixings, we're going to try to turn to what the world says will fix it. So my second point is, do you know what you are doing? Do you know what you are doing? This verse said, be sober-minded. Be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. Be sober-minded. God asks for you to be aware. As soon as you start getting out of your own mind, that's when the enemy can slip in and devour you. Devour your life, devour your situations. Because you've lost all control. You're literally giving up your control. When you're drunk, when you're high, when you're on this whatever acid trip on drugs and alcohol, you have no control. Most of the time you don't even remember what happened. How can you say you're in control if you're not sober-minded? That's all God asks for you, is to be sober-minded. Satan wants your guard down so he can destroy you. I think that's why alcohol is such a big problem, but disguised as such a big solution. Because he wants to use that, Satan wants to use that to destroy your life, destroy your family. People who struggle with alcohol, look at their family life. There tends to be a tension. There tends to be a struggle. See, drugs and alcohol destroy relationships. It destroys friendships. It destroys family. It destroys your body. destroys your liver, destroys your lungs. Why wouldn't you protect this precious body that you've been given? Why do you want to destroy it for a temporary high? You see, obeying God's truth is also obeying the law. Disobedience is destructive. You're underage, it's illegal for you. That's the bottom line. And here's the deal. When you are of age, you can't choose to live for God and choose to sin. I've already made that point in a different part of this countercultural. But the same thing applies here. You can't live for God and say, yeah, I'm going to worship tonight. Woo, Jesus, yeah. And then the very next day, you go back to your addiction willingly. I can't wait to drink tonight. Wow. I can't wait to smoke some weed when I get home. You can't live for God and choose to sin. That means you can't live for God and choose tonight to go smoke the weed that you bought from somebody in your school. Or to sneak that alcohol tonight. I can't wait to drink tonight. Oh, man. You can't live for God and choose to sin. But here's the deal. You can live for God and choose to be redeemed and struggle with stuff. We're all going to be messed up. We're not going to be perfect. I can understand you having a struggle, but when you choose to sin, where's your heart at? And so that's the final point tonight is God will restore you. When your world crumbles, turn to God. Drugs and alcohol will leave you empty. God will fill you up. If you don't get anything from tonight, that's the point. Drugs and alcohol will leave you empty. Time after time, no matter how high you get with whatever drug you use, whatever alcohol you drink, the low will never fill you up. The next day is never going to keep you filled. But when you get spiritually high with God, ask Tina. When you get spiritually high with God, when you seek Him in worship, you seek Him in His Word, you seek Him in prayer, and it fills you up, that won't go away because you're sober-minded. You understand what's happening. You understand that feeling. You understand what God's doing in your life. And so when you choose God, instead of choosing drugs and alcohol, you start reliving God's time when He came into your life. Does anybody remember when you first accepted that Christ, that feeling you got? See, that feeling can stay with you every day. But you have to make a choice. You have to take up your cross daily and choose to live for God and not choose to live for this world. So to close tonight, before counter groups, I'm going to ask Christina to come up and she's going to share something with you guys. Share something real, a real story from her life about this topic.
All right, I'm not as loud as Austin is, so maybe a little hard to hear me. But I remember going to church a few times as a teenager, and it was always somebody up there that just seemed so pure, like, oh, life never touched them. So I wanted it to come from a real standpoint tonight. By 8th grade, I was already smoking cigarettes. My parents never had anything against it. If you want it, come to us. Don't go anywhere else. I got in trouble in 8th grade for dropping a pack of cigarettes out of my purse because most people don't think, hey, that 13-year-old has cigarettes in her purse. The same with drinking. I saw it my whole life. My mom was not an alcoholic, but she liked to party. Every weekend, we were home alone because mom was gone. My dad was a meth addict growing up and was in and out of jail most of my life. I remember being in the 10th grade and my dad's drug dealer bust into his house with me sitting on the couch and threatened to kill me if my dad didn't give him the money that he owed. Drugs are a very real thing. For me, I was not strong enough to stay away from it. It wasn't, oh, they do it and they're messing up their lives. It was, well, I'm just going to smoke weed. I'm not going to do any of the hard drugs. Just, the happy drugs because my life was miserable and I needed a way to escape from it. and not think about it. Like he said, everybody has a different reason. That was mine. I didn't want to think about my life or the things that were going wrong, or the fact that as a senior in high school, my dad was in the hospital for 9 months because he overdosed. He died 3 times in that 9 months. It wasn't easy, and I wasn't strong enough to stay away. And I always thought, well, it's just weed. It grows out of the ground. God can't be against it if he made it. But the fact that it's illegal makes it wrong, period. Regardless of whatever it is that you think. I was engaged to my high school sweetheart. A lot of people don't know that. A year and a half into our relationship, I found out that he was doing cocaine. And the one thing that I said when we first got together was, if you start to do drugs, it's over. I don't want it to end up like my father. So I ended a year and a half relationship, a month before school let out, a month before we were supposed to get married. 9 months later, he killed himself. The coroner's report came back from his body, and they said that he was 4 times over the lethal dose of a mixture of prescription pills, cocaine, and heroin. And the reason that he killed himself is because he could physically feel his brains frying. Drugs are real, and they affect a lot of lives. Senior year, my dad got out of the hospital. 3 months later, he was arrested in Arizona for having 41 pounds of meth in his vehicle. I used $12,000, all the money I had saved to go to college, to move away, to start a new life for myself, to bail my dad out of jail. He had to come up with the court costs on his own, but I did it, and then I cut him out of my life. So here I am, a messed up 18-year-old with no idea what to do with her life, and I turned to partying. Because for some reason, I was blind to the fact that drugs and alcohol had ruined everything around me. But when I was drunk, I forgot about everything. I was happy and social, and it felt like things were going right. At 18, I started dating a real loser of a guy because he liked to party. It wasn't serious. We just went to parties every night. I remember staying up until 5 a.m. and then getting up at 8 to take a final the next morning hungover. That was just my lifestyle. I woke up one night in my apartment, not sure how I got there because I had been very drunk at a party the night before. When I went downstairs to get into my car to go to work, my car was parked sideways in 3 parking spaces. I called my boyfriend and he said that I drove home. I could have killed someone. The choices that you make don't affect you. They affect everyone around you. If I would have died, somebody would have had to explain to my mom why I thought that was a good idea. Or explain to my dad, hey, your daughter is drinking, like you do, and she died from it. I wish I could tell you, hey, after that, I turned my life around. No. It takes a lot more than that. About 6 months later, I found out I was pregnant by the same loser guy who let me drive home drunk from a party. And when I told him, I'm sure you can imagine what good news I got. Well, we have to get rid of it. And that's when I decided enough was enough. I've been sober since I was 19, and I have a daughter that saved my life, but it doesn't happen that way for everybody else. My dad is a convicted felon. He's been sober for 9 years, but he can't get a good job, and he can't vote, and there are a lot of things in his life that he's held back from because he made so many stupid decisions. My high school love of my life that could have gone anywhere is dead. He didn't make it to his 19th birthday. I want that to really resonate with some of you guys, because the pleasures of sin will eventually take you guys farther than you want to go, and they cost you a lot more than you'll want to pay for them. I threw my life away for what? I had to drop out of college. I was a single mom at 19, and I had 2 jobs. You guys deserve so much more. I told you a few weeks ago that my friend Mike had killed himself, that I was really close with. He was one of the main 6 is what we called ourselves. It was 5 guys and me, and we had all known each other since grade school. We all partied together. We all went down the same path. Let me fill you in. There's me. I'm a mom. I gave my life to God. I turned things around. There's Cody. Cody had 3 DUIs, and he is now a janitor at the college that I had to drop out of. There's Mike. Mike is dead with a baby. There's Neil. Neil is working at a grocery store. He did drugs for so long that it permanently affected his brain. So his parents think that he's going to be a cart pusher for the rest of his life. He had a full ride to study physics. You guys can think, oh, it's just weed. But it's going to turn into something more. Wayne is in jail and will be for the next 5 years. And last but not least is Tyler. Tyler is currently on probation. He's been arrested twice. There's so much more for you guys. Each and every single one of you, even those of you who I don't know as well as some others, there is more for you. Make a life for yourself. The more full of the flesh we are, the more we will grab at anyone and anything to fill that void. I would much rather fill it with Jesus than something that I know is going to ruin my life. In Proverbs, they speak of alcohol, and it says, "For in the end, it bites like a poisonous snake. It stings like a viper. Your eyes will see strange sights, and your mind will become confused. You will stagger like a sailor tossed at sea, clinging to a swaying mast." And that's what I did. I let everything go numb. I let myself think everything's going to be okay. And then I wondered why my foundation wasn't steady. You all deserve more. There's no amount of outside influence that will fix the inside hurts. I'm going to say it one more time. There is no amount of outside influence that will fix your inside hurts. Your friends can't fix it. You can't go to your mom and say, "Hey, this happened today, I'm hurting." She's not going to have 100% the right answer. Weed is not going to do it. Cocaine, meth, heroin, alcohol, no other drugs are going to fix any hurts that you have going on. The only thing that can fix that is Jesus. That's the only thing. You can't hate yourself happy or criticize yourself skinny. You can't shame yourself worthy. Real change begins with loving yourself and saying no. Because you're worth more than even that one time. Owning your story and loving yourself through that process is the bravest thing that any of you will ever do. Your parents' mistakes don't define you. Your friends' mistakes don't define you. Don't become that.